I'm Clint Walker, and you're watching GVTV News.
Thanks, Clint, and I'm Randy Hansen. In today's World News headlines, Obama extends tax cut for earners under $250,000. That's what he wants to do. And U.S. breaks new heat records in 2012. And Annan and Assad hold new talks in Damascus. And ICC sentences ex-Congolese rebel leader to 14 years. And Bahraini activist sentenced to 3 months for criticizing monarchy. An Israeli panel claims legality of settlements outposts, and Texas opts out of Medicaid expansions. GVTV News is broadcast on Grass Valley Television, a division of Rural Counties Television Network, whose focus is on community involvement, and we also air on NCTV. But before these stories, GVTV News would like to thank one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News. In today's first world news story, President Obama has renewed his spat with Republicans over the Bush-era tax cuts, calling on Congress to approve a one-year extension only for those making under $250,000 a year. Speaking at the White House, Obama said the tax cuts for the wealthiest Americans should expire and said, "I believe it's time to let the tax cuts for the wealthiest Americans, folks like myself, to expire. I'm calling on Congress to extend the tax cuts for the 98% of Americans who make less than $250,000 for another year. Let's not hold the vast majority of Americans and our entire economy hostage while we debate the merits of another tax cut for the wealthy. We can have that debate, but let's not hold up working on things that we already agreed on." Republicans are planning to vote on preserving the tax cut for the wealthiest in the coming weeks, a move the White House says would draw a veto. The United States has broken yet another heat record. First 6 months of 2012, now officially the hottest ever recorded in continental U.S. in a calendar year. Past 12 months have also been the hottest in recorded history, beating out the record of previous 12 months. In the last 2 weeks of June alone, more than 170 all-time heat records were either broken or tied. Blistering heat and drought have fueled record wildfires, damaged the nation's corn crop, and killed scores of people. Fires have consumed 1.3 million acres, second biggest area burned during any June on record, while the Great Plains are facing the worst drought in a quarter century. Drenching rains in Florida made last month the wettest June on record there. Midwest and the East get a respite from the heat, and storms are now predicted to cross swaths of the country, mid-Atlantic to the southern Rockies. Climate experts have described recent spat of extreme weather as planet's long-term future under global warming. UN Arab League envoy Kofi Annan says he reached a new understanding with Syrian President Bashar al-Assad to stop violence raging in Syria. Annan spoke after meeting Assad in Damascus and said, "We discussed the need to end the violence and the ways and the means of doing so. We agreed on an approach which I share with the armed opposition. I also stressed the importance of moving ahead with the political dialogue which the president accepts." Annan did not provide details of his plan, which he says he will now take to Syria's opposition. But before the meeting, the rebel groups, Annan flew to Tehran to talk with the Iranian government, whose involvement is opposed by the United States. And the International Criminal Court has sentenced Congolese rebel leader Thomas Lubanga to 14 years in prison. Lubanga was found guilty in April of recruiting and using child soldiers during the Democratic Republic of the Congo 1998 to 2003 war. His first suspect to be convicted and sentenced at The Hague since the ICC was established a decade ago. Under the terms of his sentencing, Lubanga will end up spending 8 more years behind bars. prominent human rights activist in Bahrain, has been sentenced to 3 months of prison for publicly criticizing the U.S.-backed monarchy. Nabil Rajab, the president of the Bahrain Center for Human Rights, was detained last month after criticizing the Bahraini government in Twitter messages and in media appearances, including one on Democracy Now! In May. Rajab has been out of jail for a few days after spending the previous 3 weeks behind bars. Rajab's attorney says they will appeal the sentence, but his next hearing will not come until mid-September. In Israel and occupied territories, an Israeli government committee has affirmed Israel's self-proclaimed right to build settlements throughout the occupied West Bank and recommended the legalization of dozens of settler outposts that have not received government authorization. International Court of Justice has already ruled that all of Israel's West Bank settlements are illegal, but Israel has said it would only consider dismantling scattered outposts that it is not officially approved. Settlers have used the outposts to steal even more Palestinian land than has already been seized. Using the Jewish biblical term of the West Bank, for the West Bank, Israel's infrastructure minister Uzi Landu said the panel's findings affirm settlers' rights to maintain the outposts as well. He said it's a highly authoritative document which only spells out again the rights of the Jews to settle over Judea and Samaria have originally decided upon by the League of Nations. And Texas Governor Rick Perry has rejected parts of Obama's landmark healthcare reform law, saying the state would not expand Medicaid or create a health insurance exchange. In a letter to Health and Human Service Secretary Kathleen Sebelius, Perry said he will refuse billions of dollars in federal funding rather than accept what he called brazen intrusion into sovereignty of our state. Texas has the highest percentage of uninsured people in the country, which is nearly a quarter of its population, or 6.2 million people lacking health insurance. In an interview with Fox News anchor Jana Lee, Perry dismissed concerns of the plight of his state's uninsured. She said the facts: 1 of 4 Texans without health insurance, 1 out of 4 Texans on Medicare or Medicaid. The health crisis, the biggest crisis in the country for your state. What is the solution? And Perry replied, the idea that this federal government, which doesn't like Texas to begin with, to pick and choose and come up with some data and say somehow Texas has the worst healthcare system in the world is just fake and false in its face. The real issue here is about freedom. 6 Republican governors have now rejected Obama's Medicaid provision, keeping out millions of low-income people from the Medicaid expansion. And last month, the Supreme Court upheld the core of Obama's landmark healthcare law, but also ruled states should opt out of provisions that expand Medicaid by broadening eligibility requirements. That's it for World News today. Now another thanks to one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News.
Soundcheck Music Center, the rock and roll connection. We have guitars, amps, drum equipment, sound accessories, lessons, and repairs. We are located at 671 Maltman Drive, Grass Valley. 530-272-7236, open 7 days a week.
No one needs anyone, they don't even just pretend. Jonah's in America. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't.
That's right, it's time for the police blotter, and pictures in the blotter are not from these actual events, but used for visual aid only. Saturday, 12:45 a.m. A woman from the 10,000 block of Rush Creek Way reported a bear broke into her shed. 7:52 a.m. a caller from 12,000 block of Ridge Road reported people swimming in a pool of a bank-owned home. They were gone when deputies arrived. And 8:44 a.m. a caller from 23,000 block of Star Court reported multiple bee stings. 9:29 a.m. a caller from 17,000 block of Banner Quaker Hill Road reported semi-automatic gunfire. And 9:47 a.m. a caller from 10,000 block of Valley Drive reported squatters broke into a trailer. 11:27 a.m. caller from 16,000 block of Auburn Road reported a burglary to a shop with tools taken. At 12:52 p.m. a woman from 24,000 block of Clayton Road reported fraudulent charges on a credit card. 3:46 p.m., a woman from 15,000 block of Orchard Springs Road reported theft of checks. And 5:14 p.m., a man from 12,000 block of Red Dog Road reported Jehovah's Witnesses continually come to his residence. 6:13 p.m., a caller from Idaho Maryland Road reported illegal dumping. A man was arrested on suspicion of possessing a controlled substance and drug paraphernalia. And 6:49 p.m., a man reported a person videotaped him sunbathing nude on the Yuba River. At 6:51 p.m., multiple callers reported a brush fire at Highway 49 and Auburn Road. And 7:12 p.m., a man from the 14,000 block of Lowell Hill Road reported squatters. At 7:22 p.m., caller from 10,000 block of Spenceville Road reported theft of antique bowl from a potluck. 8:05 p.m., a man from Cougar Court reported 50 to 100 people in costumes climbing in the trees. And 8:46 p.m., a man from 14,000 block of Pammy Way reported an assault with the suspect breaking items and tearing up the residence. Suspect left to go to the hospital. Be on the lookout advisory was issued. 11:44 p.m., a woman from 12,000 block of Lowell Hills Road reported 2 bottles of kefir had exploded and she needed advice on how to get a 3rd bottle outside. Sunday, 12 a.m., a caller from 20,000 block of Morning Sun Lane reported an ongoing loud party. At 12 a.m., a caller from 15,000 block of Orchard Springs Road reported people shooting off fireworks. 3:10 a.m., a caller from 11,000 block of Huddle Road reported hearing 10 or 12 gunshots. And 5:32 a.m., a caller from 11,000 block of Upper Pine Hills Drive reported a man and a woman screaming in a physical fight. In Nevada City Police Department on Friday, 2:40 p.m., a caller from 700 block of Zion Street reported shoplifting. 2:58 p.m., caller from Commercial on North Pine Street reported a man yelling and scaring the tourists. He was singing and was advised to keep it down. And that's it for the blotter today. Now another thanks to one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News. Christopher's Old World Deli and Catering Company has brought its delicious food and service downtown Grass Valley. Like desserts? They got 'em. You like international style lunches? They got 'em. Christopher's Deli and Catering for parties, get-togethers, weddings, or whatever. Open 7 days a week. In today's local news headlines, defendant in pot robbery sentenced. And Judge McManus, retirement official. And a soldier's mom says he's healing. I'm so grateful. Nation pledges $16 billion in Afghanistan aid. In a story written by Liz Keller of the Union, even after they each pleaded no contest to first-degree burglary charges, 2 remaining defendants awaiting sentence in a home invasion pot robbery continued to deny responsibility for the plan. But the judge was having none of it, telling Michael Joseph Cameron, 31, and Willard Ernst, 26, that it didn't matter who was the actual ringleader. You both participated and you are both equally culpable. Nevada County Superior Court Judge Tom Anderson said Monday afternoon. Anderson told Cameron and Ernst an argument that they should not be sentenced to serve prison time because it would turn them into criminals was just absurd. You chose to become criminals, Anderson said. That's why you're going to state prison. Cameron had been identified by victim Matthew Gordon as lead suspect in February 27th incident, but Assistant District Attorney Anna Ferguson and Ernst actually instigated the break-in. 4 masked gunmen forcibly entered Gordon's residence in Big Oak Valley while he and his girlfriend were sleeping and threatened to shoot them. Gordon testified at the preliminary hearing that Cameron, whom he had known since middle school, was carrying a shotgun that he recognized. The robbers put duct tape over the victim's mouth and eyes and taped his hands and feet together before stealing several guns, sterile equipment, and about 20 to 30 pounds of medical marijuana in about 10 bins. Third suspect, Brian David Estrada, 35, pleaded no contest to possession of stolen property in return for a stipulated sentence of 180 days in county jail. Fourth suspect was never charged. Cameron's court-appointed defense attorney, Ken Tribby, called him a gentle giant who had adamantly denied being the ringleader a statement with which Ferguson agreed. Victims identified the wrong person as the person who pistol whipped them, Ferguson said. I had to assess from a number of sources what really happened. It became clear that there was a lot of missing facts and mistakes as to what was reported. From what I could glean, it appears Ernst came up with the idea. I don't believe Michael Cameron had the will or the imagination. Ferguson said it was disappointing that Ernst tried to claim he was not involved, calling his statement disingenuous and untrue and naming him the prime mover in the home invasion. Ernst's defense attorney, David Alcar, called that assertion utter nonsense. Despite the prosecution's preposterous claim, Michael Cameron was the ringleader, Alcar said, pointing to testimony in a preliminary hearing alleging Cameron and Estrada concocted a story that Ernst was the brains of the operation. Cameron chose not to speak in court Monday, while Ernst offered an apology of sorts. I love my family. I would never wish what happened to these two to happen to mine. He said, I'm sorry I didn't do something to prevent it. In the end, Cameron was sentenced to 4 years in state prison for first-degree residential burglary with an enhancement of committing a felony while on bail. He will be able to get 50% credit for good behavior. Ernst was sentenced to 2 years for first-degree residential burglary while a person was present and 8 months for forgery in an unrelated counterfeiting case. He will only receive 15% credit for time served. Nevada County Superior Court Judge Julie McManus has officially retired from the bench, according to the Commission on Judicial Performance. McManus, who was appointed in December 2005 and ran unopposed in June 2008, had been on medical leave since March 3, 2011. Had she completed her term, McManus would have been up for re-election in 2014. According to a spokesperson with the Commission on Judicial Performance, McManus' requested for disability retirement was approved and made effective July 2nd. Penn Valley soldier Brandon Walden is in San Antonio, Texas, recovering after 11-hour surgery to repair his abdomen wounded in an Afghanistan firefight, his mother said. Meanwhile, an account at Wells Fargo Bank has been set up to help Walden Cummins' family with expenses at home while Walden's mother and fiancé visit him in the hospital. While the Penn Valley family struggles with basic needs, international donors pledged $16 billion to help Afghanistan rebuild in coming years as the country faces the withdrawal of NATO troops like Walden by 2014. U.S. Army specialist was stationed in Wardak province in eastern Afghanistan, south of the capital, Kabul. A man wearing an Afghan army uniform opened fire on his squad, wounding Walden and 4 other Americans July 3rd, 2 days before he was to be shipped out. NATO coalition and Afghanistan forces were trying to secure areas Wardak and the Taliban fighters use as gateways into the Afghan capital, where they have staged high-profile attacks on Afghan government and NATO targets, according to the Associated Press. On Monday, Walden's mother, Laura Cummins, traveled to Fort Sam Houston in Texas to be with her son. Fiancée Rihanna Sedano, also of Penn Valley, hoped to travel late Monday or early yesterday. The flights of both women were to be financed by the Army. They needed additional help with other expenses during their stay. 4 younger children from the elementary to high school age remain at home, cared for by Josh Walden, the eldest of the 6 closely knit siblings, said neighbor Lori Cox. The American Legion also had contacted the family to see how it could help, wrote Legion chaplain Dennis Fruza, and other supporters are putting together plans for a spaghetti dinner fundraiser. Legion members also are planning to welcome home event for Walden when he returns. Supporters also have brought dinner, Sedano said. They're just wonderful people, Cox said, the Walden Cummins family. This community is amazing, the way people come together to support each other. Cummins talked to her son on the telephone while he was still in Germany. She said after recovering from an 11-hour surgery there late Friday, Walden was breathing on his own and taking liquids. He sounded weak, Cummins said, but he continued to heal. I'm so very grateful. Walden was flown to Texas late Sunday along with several wounded members from his squad. Waiting for her flight to Texas, Sedano couldn't make the clock move fast enough as she helped around the Walden Cummins household. The last time she talked to her fiancé was the evening before he went out on his final patrol and took 3 bullets. We'll try really hard to stay in good spirits, Sedano said. For Brandon to be just okay, everybody's beyond happy. He's loved by everyone and by me. Aid with strings to Afghanis while doctors tend to Walden's war-torn body. U.S. Secretary of State Rodham Hillary Clinton met Saturday with Afghan President Hamid Karzai in Kabul, just north of Wardak, the province where he was shot. Clinton renewed America's commitment to Afghanistan, designating it the new major non-NATO ally, the Associated Press reported. It amounts to a political statement of support for the country's long-term stability and solidifies close defense cooperation after American combat troops withdraw in 2014. We see this as a powerful commitment to Afghanistan's future, Clinton said at a news conference during a brief stop. We are not even imagining abandoning Afghanistan. That support came amid continuing violence. An insurgent bomb over the weekend killed 6 American soldiers in Wardak province. The Taliban claimed responsibility. From Kabul, Clinton and Karzai headed separately to Japan for an international conference on Afghan civilian assistance. Donors gathered in Tokyo over the weekend to pledge $16 billion in aid over 4 years to boost economic development and security, AP and CBS reported. It's not clear how much the U.S. would pledge. Conditions to receive America's aid must include fighting corruption, improving governance, strengthening the rule of law, increasing access to economic opportunity for all Afghans, especially for women, Clinton said. Nations that once give more generously to Afghanistan, are now seeking guarantees that their taxpayers' money will not be lost to corruption and mismanagement, AP reported. International donors say that many promised to crack down on corruption have not been carried out. The non-NATO ally declaration allows for streamlined defense cooperation, including expedited purchasing ability of American equipment and easier export control regulations. Afghanistan military, heavily dependent on American and foreign assistance, already enjoys many of these benefits. The non-NATO ally status guarantees it will continue to do so. Afghanistan is the 15th such country to receive its designation. Others include Australia, Egypt, Israel, and Japan. Afghanistan's neighbor Pakistan was the last nation to gain the status in 2004. Clinton insisted that progress was coming incrementally but consistently to Afghanistan. After decades of conflict, the security situation is more stable. Afghan forces are improving their capacity. Asked about the corruption that plagued the Afghan government, Clinton said the U.S. was working hard with the Afghan authorities to eliminate fraud, mismanagement, and abuse. She said the meeting in Tokyo would include accountability measures to ensure what monies sent to Afghanistan benefits the Afghan people. And that's it for local news today. Now we'd like to thank the union, Associated Goodman, Amy Goodman, Reuters, Associated Press, and others for the source of news, and you for watching. You can watch this broadcast on Comcast Cable, NCTV Channel 11, Nevada County, 8 a.m., 3 p.m., 7:30 p.m., Monday through Friday, and 10:30 on Saturday morning, and 8 o'clock on Sunday night, Sudden Link 16 in Truckee and Alta Sierra. We're also streamed on the internet, NCTV's Digital Media Center website, NevadaCountyTV.org. And don't forget Grass Valley Television, grassvalleytelevision.com. We post to Facebook, YouTube, Flip.tv, and many other sites, and have RSS feed and video podcasts on iTunes. Just search under video podcast for GVTV News. We are happy that NCDMC has moved and it's time for content again. So just remember Grass Valley Television videotapes local events around Nevada County. If you have a need for video, you can ask us for more info, grassvalleytelevision@gmail.com. 362-8889, that's a 530 number. Grass Valley Television of Rural County's television network. We hope that you will keep tuned to our new season, and don't forget to watch music. It's our other show. It's on every week. Talk to you next week. Welcome to Nevada County Sheriff's Office Most Wanted, updated July 5th, 2012. These people have warrants for their arrest. If you see any of these subjects on the street or have any information regarding their whereabouts, please contact the Sheriff's Department. Every effort is made to keep this information as current as possible. However, information provided should be verified before taking any action. Shown is the pictures of those most wanted. Please confirm warrant with the Nevada County Sheriff's Warrant Unit at 530-265-1474. Jason Angus McNutt, age 36, out of Truckee, violation, probation, felony, no bail. David Humberto Gonzalez, age 29, LKA, Grass Valley, lewd, lascivious acts, felony, 50,000. Sergio Espatilla, age 40, unknown location, for murder, felony, no bail. Charlene Jillian Hill, age 33, Nevada, drugs violation, probation, felony, 25,000. Cecilia Cunningham, aka Morgan or Gary, age 56, unknown, possibly LA, possible drugs for sale, conspired to commit a crime, resist arrest, felony, $30,000. Brendan Barker, age 31, unknown, numerous drug offenses, felony, $70,000. Justin Owen Byer, age 35, Grass Valley, numerous drug offenses, felony, $42,500. Mark Ray Johnson, age 45, Grass Valley, numerous drug offenses, felony, no bail. Michael Carl Peterson, age 28, Portland, in stolen vehicle, felony, $10,000. Elizabeth Ann Monk, age 44, Grass Valley, check passing insufficient funds, 4 felony, no bail. Robert Dean Hicks, age 60, Sacramento, grand theft, felony, bail, $50,000. And Tara Serene Davis, age 32, unknown, possession of controlled substance, under the influence, controlled substance, felony, $10,000. Do not attempt to apprehend these suspects. Instead, contact a local law enforcement agency or the Nevada County Sheriff's Office at 530-265-1474. This update was July 5th, 2012. These people have warrants for their arrest. If you see any of the subjects on the street or have any information regarding their whereabouts, please contact the Sheriff's Department. Every effort is made to keep this information as current as possible. However, the information provided should be verified before taking any action. Shown are the pictures of the most wanted. Please confirm warrant with the Nevada County Sheriff's Warrants Division at 265-1474. Next up, Preston Robert Ryan, age 21, Grass Valley, possession of controlled substance, felony, no bail. Gordon Morgan Hewson, age 55, Olympia Valley, 4th conviction in 10 years of driving under the influence, revoked license, 2 felonies, $115,000. And Michael Devin Johnson, age 35, Grass Valley, robbery, burglary, false imprisonment, receive and conceal stolen property, felony, no bail. And Richard Dean Jaffarian, age 21, Truckee violation, probation, felony, no bail. And that's it today. We try to keep these updated whenever we can. And just remember, don't try to apprehend these people. Phone numbers 265-1474 or 911.